Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuk with Queen Bee Creations. So apologies for the nasal sound I've managed to come down with. I'm hoping just a cold. Starting to feel a little bit chesty. Broken finger. It's just a fun holiday time. I, however, am in the shop and doing my thing as always. So we're going to continue. Now, I have been slowly starting to work through some of my big stash back there. It's getting a little unruly. I've been taking advantage of the Christmas to New Year's lull and starting to try and organize a little bit all of the stuff. So I'm working my way through the racks of things on the other side. I still have to get into the middle section that is packed full of furniture. But, you know, I'm taking you along with all the finds along the way and what we're going to do with them. I really liked this little owl. Again, kind of like the finial video I just did. You know, it's just an interesting little decor piece. He's just a little bit dark and blah. And rather than just doing something that I've already done with you, we're going to try something else. And that is, we are going to do a little metallic, a little aging, and we're going to be doing a little bit of faux rust. And I'm going to do it in a way that I haven't done before. So I'm not using any of the metallic paint and the oxidizing stuff. So I want to do it with a look that is from your kitchen. So an easy way to do this. To start, we're going to get it painted fully. Oh, and you can see I got this from the thrift store for $6.99 less 30% because I do it on Senior's Day. Since I'm over 60, I get 30% off. So bonus, that's when I do most of my thrifting, is taking advantage of the discount, which makes the difference when you have a store. I don't have to mark it up as much. Okay, so I'm not $6.99, $7, $7, $14, $21, so $7 minus 2, so $5, right? Not bad. So what I do have is I have Pennies from Heaven from DIY, which is a beautiful copper metallic. And we are going to paint this whole sucker with this. And I'm anticipating that I will need, because you can see it going on, there's a little bit of a translucency to it, which is cool when that's what I'm looking for. I'm expecting then that I will need to do 2 coats. This has a built-in sealer, so I don't need to worry about sealing it afterward. I can just do my 2 coats and call it quits, but I'm gonna get that done before we get together again for the next step. But I'm gonna have a number of small little steps along the way. It's all cool, it's all easy. This is what our owl looks like now. He looks totally different, doesn't he? The difference though is that even though we've brightened him up, we still lose some of the details. I mean, you can see them better now, how detailed he is, than when he was just that solid dark brown. But we're still missing a little bit of it. And he's kind of bright. Now, you could just leave it like this. You could just black wax him, dark wax him, turquoise wax him, wipe it off and leave those. This Pennies from Heaven with the DIY turquoise wax looks awesome. Oh, shoot. I meant to open this jar before I started the video because with my finger, I can't open jars. So what we're looking at doing now is I'm looking to add dark and decrepit to him. And I have an old t-shirt. I take my old cotton t-shirts that are paint spattered. I mean, if they were in awesome condition, I would donate them. But none of my t-shirts end up being in awesome condition because as soon as they start looking a little ratty, that's what I wear into the shop. You can tell I'm not ever on videos wearing nice clothes, or typically not. just again, because they're not nice clothes for very long once I wear them here. But when they get a little too paint spattered and there's just no way I can be wearing them any longer, I cut them up and I use them as my work cloths. So I have a work cloth available. I have my Dark and Decrepit, and I am going to kind of rub it all in over this. Now, what I want to do is I want to work it down into the lows, which is why I'm using a chip brush, and then I want to wipe it off. So you can see immediately it highlights the details and it takes a little bit of the brightness of the copper away. So it's going to show me those details and it's going to darken it down a little bit, dull that copper down a little bit, which is perfect. That's the look that I'm after. I mean, you may just love it in the bright copper. Cool, if that's what you're after. But because I want to do a bit of a rust effect afterward. Now the Dark and Decrepit is also a sealer. So I wanted to use a paint that had a seal on it so that when I wipe this back, I'm not wiping down through my copper. I didn't want to expose that brown again. I'm adding brown. So having that copper sealed already was a bonus for me, right? That I didn't have to do that step in the process. But you can see how quickly, how easily that goes. This Dark and Decrepit is going to, because it's such a light coating by the time that I wipe it off, it's going to dry very quickly. So once I get this all done and it's dry, we'll come back and we'll go on to our next step. Okay, 2 last steps to our owl. And I fully admit that I did this and didn't hit record. So I'm going to show you what I did. I think I'm probably lucky that I even have enough brain working that I'm getting this far. So what I did do is I am taking my Dark and Decrepit and I'm using this as a bit of my antiquing and my glue. And so what we're going to do is we're going to dab this down into some spots that we want to have that rust effect. And then we're taking a bag of cinnamon. So it smells really nice in here, but I do admit that as I'm walking on the floor, I'm discovering I have cinnamon everywhere. And we just sprinkle that all over. Once it's dry, I am then going to take it to the back and I'm going to spray it with a polyacrylic. And let me show you the difference here between, he's still a little damp. So you can see this is where I just put that cinnamon, and see these dark spots. This is the cinnamon once we put the sealer over top of it. And you're gonna want to use a spray sealer for this just so that you're not wiping it away, right? So what I'm gonna do is, now that I've got it sealed a little bit, I want to add a little bit more in a couple of spots. So I'm gonna add that and let it dry. And then seal it up again. And then come back at you. I had done his little eyebrows and I just want it a little bit heavier up there, I think. You know, you just get to decide. And maybe his nose. You get to decide where, how much, and go for that. Right? So just let it dry, blow it off. You could use, you know, a blow dryer if you have one, you know, rather than trying to, you know, inhale too close to the cinnamon. I'm not breathing that well to begin with. I don't know that inhaling a ton of cinnamon is going to help me any. Probably not as bad as pepper, but let him dry and then seal him up. And then once he's dry from that, we'll come back and I'll show you what he looks like. But it's looking cool already. And it just adds another kind of textural element of this kind of just drifting over him. It looks really cool. And this is our finished bird. Now you can see, and hopefully you guys can see, I'll take some pics to show you. You can see the rough texture. You can see kind of some of the variation that you get with the finish, with the rust coming down. It still smells like cinnamon. It just gives this extra kind of raised textural look. Once it's spray sealed, and again, spray sealed only so that you're not wiping it away, but you could use a brush if you want to. It stays on there even when you're rubbing, but you still have that textural feel, and it does darken, so you get that deeper rust look. So if you are adding this over lighter colors like a turquoise, then again, you're gonna have an even bigger contrast than with this. But it looks awesome, and it really gives a great kind of rusted finish without the expense of a lot of the other kind of rusted finishes that require activators and chemicals and metal filings in the paint. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've used those and they are awesome, but they are very pricey. And if you are looking to keep your costs down, you're doing this for yourself, you're doing it for a booth or a market, and you just can't afford those items, or you can't afford the price that you would need to sell the item at to recoup your costs, this is a great kind of fun alternative, and definitely something to play with and see what kind of looks and techniques. I will look in the future for some other projects to do using this with some other colors. He just kind of lent himself well to this kind of look, but I'll look for some others to be able to highlight for you, so that I'll play with it some more for you as well, so that you can see, but it's definitely worth giving a try. Let me know what you think of this one, guys. Always love to hear from you, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.